Joran, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. I know you have a busy schedule, so we are just grateful that you're here on the Tweener Tennis channel. And Joran, thank you so much for joining us. How are we feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's for us the first week on the grass season. It's a
Hmm.
short season, but very interesting one. I'm currently in Halle, where
Hmm.
we will start beginning of next week with the 500s.
Hmm.
So getting the first practices on grass in, and it's always a bit tricky, but I'm trying to enjoy it.
How do you adjust on grass so quickly, or what's the main goal for you because like you said, it's a very short grass season. So what's the first thing you're thinking about when you play on the surface when the season first starts?
For me, it's trying not to get frustrated right away because I have a certain type of game style, a certain type of grip with my forehand.
Hmm.
I like to play baseline rallies. I love the clay. I grew up on the clay, and
Hmm.
grass is totally different. It goes so fast. You don't have time usually to set up your shots or count on your shots that you usually know that you can
Hmm.
do on the clay.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's just physically much more demanding. I'm
Hmm.
quite tall myself, and just knees and hips and lower back is just yeah, getting a lot more work in, let's say the least. Yeah, you got to sit low, great reactions, have a good touch, and
Hmm.
basically just fire on some returns and hope some of them will go in.
So for you, with your game style, prefer like you just said, you prefer to play on the baseline. How do you change your strategy at all? Well, you have to for grass, right? But do you and your partner, because you've been with the same partner for a while now, do you try to change your strategy or try to stick to your own game in that sense?
No, we for sure we have to adapt.
Hmm.
It's not gonna work. Staying back on grass, it's just it's just no go. You got to play serve and volley, try to get to the net as fast as possible. Not counting on hitting baseline rallies or anything like that. That's just not possible with the quality of the serves and the returns, and then the speed of the surface. It's just, and the way people are covering the net, everybody's so
Hmm.
close, everybody's covering all the angles. That just leads to just got to go in and see what happens.
You kind of just have to guess, and then hopefully the guess works.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're just trying to make, yeah, I don't know, like get it as much as into your advantage as possible.
Hmm.
So I think us being at the net is just a better setup than one of us being at the baseline, because it's
Hmm.
just really tough, almost impossible to hit baseline rallies cross court,
Hmm.
with the way the net players are covering and the speed of the rallies and all that stuff. So
So for you as a doubles player with your partner, because how long have you been playing with your doubles partner? I feel like you guys have been playing for forever.
that's like 10 years now. Yeah, it seems
10, I
like
was about
forever.
I
You
was
don't really
about to
see.
say 10 years. You like you said, you don't really see a partner, maybe the Bryan brothers, but you don't really see a partnership lasting over 10 years. So talk to us about that relationship that you've had and what has kind of kept you guys grinding because you guys had such a successful, honestly, your first Masters 1000 title. Like
Yeah,
that's
this year,
this
yeah.
year, like all the hard work is paying off. So what has made you guys kind of stick together for this amount of time?
So I'll start with the beginning a little bit.
Mhm.
We obviously knew each other for a long time. I mean, the,
Mhm.
the tennis scene in Belgium is quite small. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a small country, first of all. And we're kind of same area-ish. We live 40, 45 minutes away, which is nothing. Still a lot in Belgium, pretty much, but for American standards, that's just like a
It's
walk
down
away, basically.
it's down the road.
Uh, yeah, down the road, exactly. He's 2 years older than me. He went to college himself,
Mhm.
and then I joined 2 years later, different schools though.
Mhm.
But then he came back and started playing on the tour.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously starting playing singles like everyone. You don't really start playing out doubles right away.
Mhm.
Um, and then I basically came back 2 years later, and I joined him. We started traveling together, signing up for doubles. just, because we were spending 2, 3 weeks at the same place anyways.
Hmm.
So if we would lose early in singles, we'd still have a couple of matches, kill some time in between before the next tournament would start, and also get a little bit of our expenses back.
Hmm.
But you can't really talk about prize money and making money at that point. So,
Yeah.
um, and then that kind of, I guess, graduated into our rankings being a little far apart, singles doubles wise.
Hmm.
We would be top 200 in doubles and still like 500-600 in singles, which brings you into a different category of tournaments. You would still
Hmm.
be in ITFs for singles, but you're starting to look at challengers already in doubles.
Hmm.
And then we had to make a decision, and then at that time he had a very bad elbow injury. I think he torn a ligament in his elbow.
Wow.
And then for me, the combination singles doubles also became physically very demanding.
Hmm.
Actually too demanding. So I was quite young at the time, like 23, maybe
Hmm.
24, which is quite young to be like, hey, I'm done with the singles and let's just focus on doubles. But we felt like we could reach more in doubles than we would have in singles. I don't think we were both like top 100 potential
Hmm.
guys in
Okay.
singles, not at all. Um, so we felt like if we wanted to continue playing for a while, maybe we can do is doubles. I mean, it's going well. We've had a lot
Hmm.
of ITF titles. We
Hmm.
complement each other good on the court. Um,
You! Please subscribe. Thanks.
let's just give it a shot. And then actually we just started playing some challengers. I think
Hmm.
we won like one of our first challengers almost right away, which again brought us to this feeling like, hey, I mean, we right away fit into these challengers. Let's just keep going, and then every year after year, it seems to be an improvement. We were setting, or we were actually aiming for new goals.
Hmm.
Succeeding in those goals, and
Hmm.
I think both of us really like, I don't know, like have a certain standard of
Okay.
work ethic and things that we really have towards each other as well. I think if one of us, is working really hard, the other one automatically feels like, hey, but he's putting all the work, the focus, the everything that needs to be done to get to a higher level. I mean, that brings me up as well.
Hmm.
Um, and then game style wise, I think on the court we complement each other also really well. Me being a
Hmm.
lefty, him being right-handed with a really loose arm with a cannon of a serve and a forehand, which helps me out at the net. And for me, being the more of a baseliner guy, setting him
Hmm.
up at the net because he's incredibly explosive.
Hmm.
I think that's what makes us work.
That's it. It's interesting to hear how doubles players, at least in my opinion, from my experience, how you guys start out and how some people stay together, some people find different partners and then switch after 2 or 3 years. But for you guys, you you guys have known each other from when you started to now and seeing that success and seeing how kind of you've grinded your way to get your title, and you yourself have made multiple Grand Slam finals in doubles as well. So it's seeing how you kind of have connected over the years. And you got married last year, didn't you?
Well, we both did, like in December of last year,
Both of you
yeah. Not
did.
with each other, not with each other.
Okay. Okay. Just to clarify, both of you
Just to
got
clarify that,
married to your
yeah.
partners. Yes. Um, but I was going to ask, do you think you know more about your doubles partner than you do your now wife?
Well, for a while, it's a funny story. I mean, we would actually talk about that because now they're traveling with us, our
Okay.
partners, but
Fantastic.
before COVID,
Hmm.
they didn't, and
Okay.
so we would spend 30 to 35 weeks on the road practicing together as well when we're at home.
Hmm.
So we would say that in a jokingly way, we would see each other more than we see our girlfriends because we would spend so much time together.
Yeah.
Um, and that's something that you you learn as well. along the road that,
Mhm.
you know, it's important to give each other space as well.
Yeah.
Everybody is different. Everybody has his own needs, and you know, it's like a marriage. You know, like
Yeah.
the good things, but also the bad things. And
Mhm.
like I was explaining earlier about, you know, how we started and how it gotten to this point, but it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that it's always been sunshine and positive things. We've
Mhm.
had a really tough 2022,
Yeah.
where we basically didn't win a match and lost every tiebreak we played, and I didn't play US Open. I dropped to like 94, 95, getting close to being out of the top 100. And
Mhm.
you know, a lot of people in that same situation would decide to find other opportunities
Mhm.
and you know, find new partners, but we stuck together, and then
Wow.
we came right back swinging, and with a title in 2023 in the beginning of the year. And you know, ever since it's been, yeah, uphill again. So doesn't mean that it's always going great. You know, there's
Mhm.
some tough moments as well, but you know, if you grind it out together, then you can achieve a lot of things together as well.
I love that, and I hope that's not an inappropriate question. I just feel like everyone, when it comes to playing doubles with someone for so long and then you meet someone new, it's kind of like you're balancing two different lives. And like like you said, it's almost like having a marriage, right? It's like you're
Hmm.
balancing two different marriages.
Yeah, this is a professional partnership, and
Mhm.
the one with your actual partner is more like personal and a
Mhm.
private level, you know.
Mhm.
So it's different, and but I think we manage that really well.
Mhm.
I think we work well on the court, like I said, and then off the court. I mean, yeah, I mean, to be honest, like when we're at home, I don't really talk to him because you don't need to,
Wow.
because you spend so much time I
Yeah.
mean, we need that time apart, because if you're spending like, I mean, obviously I speak to him like if we got to arrange things, you know, but it's not like, hey, we're at home, let's go do something, or let's go out for
Yeah.
dinner, or let's grab a drink or anything. I mean, that,
Yeah.
you know, that's, you got to respect each other's lives as well. And I
Mhm.
think that's also a big thing, a big reason that is still working so well.
Yeah, it just kind of setting boundaries and
Exactly.
separating
Yeah.
the person, separating that personal from the business side of the relationship. Because while in the end, I feel like a lot of people don't understand is this is, and same thing in football, it's a business. Like this is your
Hmm.
livelihood that you're working with. And when it comes to your partnerships with your doubles partner or your coaches or who you're working with, it at the end of the day, this is a job. While it seems like fun, you have to maintain that sort of professional relationship throughout the entire season. And then you go your separate ways until you have to work again at the start of the season as well.
Yeah, exactly. We sometimes like jokingly refer to it as a company which we are 50% CEO. Like we own 50% of the
I love
company
that.
with two CEOs, and you come together to deliver a product, but it has to be, you know, 50% from both of you.
Yeah.
It can be 30 and 70 every time. I mean, obviously that happens in a match,
Hmm.
you know, but
Yeah.
in the long run, you have to, each of you have to bring certain things to the table to maintain that professional relationship, and
Hmm.
to get the results that you want.
100%. And I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about your college career too, because you played at East Carolina University, right?
Yeah, this is almost like what, like 10 years ago already. Man,
Well,
time flies.
it's time flies. I know. Um, I just wanted to ask you a couple questions in that regard because college tennis is getting a lot more popular now. It seems like another pathway for a lot of professional tennis players. We're seeing it now on the challenger level, ITF level. You see a lot of these guys playing college and then going there. And for you, was college always in the stars for you, or was it a kind of see where it goes after you play there?
Yeah, personally for me, it was just the best option at the time to keep
Okay.
playing tennis. So I
Okay.
went to, I mean, obviously I was playing throughout my junior years. I never really played internationally as a junior. I
Okay.
always went to school full time and had to practice after school hours.
Okay.
Um, wasn't the best in my age category, but maybe like top 10 in Belgium. And then I had just turned 17 when I finished high school.
Today's video is sponsored by the Universal Tennis Power Subscription Service, which allows you to see every decimal of someone's UTR rating when you're playing them to get a better understanding of where they are in terms of level. The Power Subscription is not just for looking at numbers, it's also for great discounts on amazing companies like Feblegs, like Tennis Warehouse, and many other companies. Now, you can check them out using the link in the description below.
And at that moment, I had to choose. And if I wanted to go to university in Belgium, that meant that, you know, I had to kind of get away from tennis a little bit, because we don't have these facilities. We don't know really the college tennis that you have in the States. So then it would be me focusing more on my degree than on the tennis.
Yeah.
And the other option was to go pro. And, you know, that wasn't really an option because I didn't have the level. Mentally, I was really immature at the time. So that wasn't really anything for me. And then I had known a couple of people that went to, you know, the States to do college tennis before me, including Sander. And at the time it was quite, you know, I don't know, it was quite hot to go to the States. You know, it was an option that a lot of players did in Belgium. And so for me, it was the perfect balance between and still be able to play tennis while getting a good degree at the same time. So, and it was never really my intention even to go pro after college.
Oh, wow.
Until midway through my junior year and my whole senior year, when I actually started playing really well and had great results. And then I kind of decided, hey, I might just give it a shot. You know, I've never really tried putting 100% into tennis. I always had school. I always had this and that. So when I go back, I'm gonna just give me some time and practice full time and see what it's like. And that's how it started.
That to me is, I feel like you never get that anymore with juniors. You either fully commit to going pro or committing to like a strict regimen and you're doing online school, or you have a full-time social life, regular life with school, and then you go practice, because that's what I did. And I don't regret it because of just having a social life outside of tennis. And for me, I felt like that worked. And did I read that you didn't train more than 10 hours a week as a junior?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, I went to school from like 8:30 to 4, 5, and then had to practice afterwards. So that would be maximum 2 hours a day. So that would get me to 10 hours. Yeah.
Wow. That's because you don't see that often, right? Nowadays, it's you'll go full 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours for training midday, and then 2 hours in the afternoon. And
I've like where I play at the academy in Belgium, you have a lot of different players from all over, and like nowadays they have these they can just stay away from school a couple of hours. They just come practice. I've seen people practice at 7 in the morning before going to school. I've seen them practice, you know, in the afternoon when they don't really have to be at school, and just putting in way more hours from when they're super young. And I mean, obviously I was in a different position. I mean, maybe I would have done the same if I would have had a higher level in juniors. I don't know. But for me, if people ask me about college tennis, for me, it was the best decision I've ever made in my life, because it helped me mature mentally and grow my tennis, but at the same time have that insurance of having a degree in my back pocket as well. And then afterwards, I could just put everything onto tennis. But I knew that if something were to happen, I got injured, or I know it didn't work out, or, you know, I still have that degree and I can just join the workforce right away. So for me, it was a great decision, but I totally understand. Like, people ask me all the time, and then, in my position, it was great, but you look at your own position, maybe it's different. Do you like to be away? How's your level in tennis? Are you a top 10 junior maybe at the time? Maybe you got to reconsider and maybe try pro right away. Nowadays, you have like people going for a semester, for example. There's a guy at my academy. He went to Texas for this semester just to work on his game.
Yep.
And now he's back, and then he's not sure if he wants to go back or just go pro now. So that for me was never the option. I fully committed to the 4-year program.
Yeah.
And that was it. So yeah, a lot of things are developing into the tennis world and the collegiate world. That's for sure.
So what would be one thing you learned about yourself off the court in college, and one thing you learned about yourself on the court in college?
I would say off the court would be being able to plan everything and schedule everything and do everything at the same time while, still be successful in school and on the court, and balancing a social life and having, a college atmosphere because you're young, and, do all that on a good level, like not slack in any of them, like not tank school, but play great and party all the time, or, do good at school, but be bad at tennis. That for me, that was one thing I had to learn, to balance everything, because people underestimate it. I mean, you just get sent away basically. I mean, I had just turned 17. I didn't really, I spoke a little bit of English, but it's different when you get thrown into a situation where nobody speaks your own language. So
exactly.
I had to adapt as well, being away from my parents, where everything was taken care of up until that moment. And you just get to know it yourself a little bit better. So that's one thing. And then maybe on the court, like I already mentioned, I was mentally really struggling at that age. I was very immature. If something was not feeling right, or I didn't feel my shots, or I don't know, I was feeling pain there or wherever, I already felt like I couldn't win the match because I couldn't play on my best level that I know I can. So that led to me, tanking matches, being frustrated, just kind of giving up. And then, there you're in a team atmosphere, which it's not about you. Like tennis is usually about yourself. Maybe not in doubles, but usually. So you get thrown into this team atmosphere, and then you just got to play for like each other, not for yourself. I mean, you have to do your own job in order for the team to win. Everybody has to join in. So I think I learned a little bit about I shouldn't really put myself first, but the team first.
Yeah. I think that's great. Realizing, because not only in doubles, but in singles, like that mentality of when you don't play your best, you still have a shot. And I think a lot of people don't, at least on the younger junior level, it's harder to instill that on them than it is like telling them if you're playing great, you should win. But if you're playing great, they could be playing great. If you're not playing great, they could be not playing great, and you still have a chance to win. So I feel that mentality right there is fantastic. And for you, I know you have to go soon, so I want to keep this short. Thank you again for joining me. I really do appreciate it. For you, you're already in the top 20. What would you consider a successful season if you were to, by the end of this year, what would you want to accomplish?
I think a goal for us is definitely try to play the Masters, be part of that top 8 year-end ranking. Because over the years, or I've realized, I mean, everyone can play great for a week. But we've noticed firsthand last year how tough it is to actually play well throughout the year and, achieve things on a constant basis. At one point, we were also in the running for the race. We had a final in French Open last year, but then you kind of didn't have the results we wanted near the end. And then, other teams, just the ones that make it to the Masters, they just play well throughout the year. And that's something we would love to achieve. That's one thing. And then the Olympics are coming up in Paris, which is really, well, basically next door for us. And it's in on the French Open site, which, suits us quite well. We have good memories there. us as a team, myself as well, in double mix, and the conditions I think suits our game quite well. So we're hoping to get a top 8 there as well, which means like a quarterfinal. I think we can aim for that, depending on the draw, of course. So that's I think if we can do that, then we have a very successful year.
All right. Perfect. Joran, I apologize. My camera died. But thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. And good luck for the rest of the season. We're really excited to see what you can do. And we'll see you soon. Hopefully, we'll see you at the US Open this year.
For sure. I'll be there. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed this. So anytime, really. Just hit me up.
Would love to. Thanks, Joran. Appreciate it.
Thanks. See you. Bye-bye.